That's a good idea.
Yes, that was a fantastic idea from Janine. We are going to fill the internet with these ones.
That's okay.
Does anyone have an American flag?
I can get one real fast.
I could too, if you want.
Yeah, you just sit there and look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful.
And Sayona, from which club are you or district?
Opinion Toastmasters in Santa Fe.
In Santa Fe, okay. Oh, welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
I met Sayona at the 2019 District 23 conference in Santa Fe. Was that where it was? Yes.
Wow.
I'll move out of the way when we're ready.
Thank you. I'm not sure you're really blocking anything, Rebecca. Just thought I'd mention that.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'll move out of the way.
Do you also want to lead the pledge?
Sure, I would love to.
Thank you for taking over everything. All of a sudden we can't hear you. I don't know why that is.
So while we're waiting, can you guys hear me okay?
No, yes.
So room monitors, chat room monitors are different, correct? They should be different for the area? Or just we need only one chat room monitor? Or do you even need one? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you need one.
All right. I'm making my list for my partner in crime.
The other thing is you could ask some people who've already done a mock evaluation contest for their lists.
Huh? Like you.
Indeed.
Yeah. You.
Send me an email tomorrow, please. Or
Janine, come on, girl. Okay. I'll send you an email. Absolutely. My pleasure. So have you finished your club contest already? Yeah.
none of our club contests were official. We only had mock evaluation contests at the club level.
Okay.
We are not having club contests at any of the clubs that I know of.
Okay, you're just going to move into area.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
It was for everyone that we did the mock evaluation contest for everyone.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, and they help so much.
Right. It was astonishing how many kinks we got out of the system. It is 6 o'clock, time to start this information session on youth leadership programs and Gavel Clubs. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I would like to start this Toastmasters meeting, as we always start Toastmasters meetings, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Can you all mute yourself except for Rebecca, and she will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Rebecca, who just disappeared, is somewhat of our MC. She will introduce me, and then I will work my magic as the moderator of this panel discussion. But Rebecca has disappeared. How unfortunate.
I'm done.
Oh, good.
Can't get rid of me that fast. Thank you so much. I am going to hold that thought. All right. Thank you so much for allowing me to have this honor this evening. At this time, I would like to introduce your moderator for this evening. Beverly Williams is a distinguished Toastmaster who has been a member of Toastmasters since 2016. She has served as president of Taylor Ranch Toastmasters and area director. She is currently the president of Leadership 23 Toastmasters, formerly called Tumbleweeds. She is also the youth program coordinator for District 23, where her role is to inform people about and encourage Toastmasters, to hold youth leadership programs and Gavel Clubs. She is currently running one Gavel Club on Zoom in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Please help me welcome her and her panel as they present information on and answer your questions about youth leadership programs and Gavel Clubs. Beverly?
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for that wonderful introduction. I will reiterate part of it. I'm currently running one Gavel Club on Zoom, which includes people all the way to Estancia in New Mexico. And my panel and I are going to present information and then answer your questions about youth leadership programs and Gavel Clubs. So feel free to fill the chat with your questions. First, I would like to introduce my panel. Grecia Mejias joined Toastmasters in 2016 in North Carolina. She believes that Toastmasters International is the right platform to grow and become a better communicator and leader. She has executed various roles. In North Carolina, she served as the Brunswick County Toastmaster Club Secretary and VPE. In New Mexico, she chartered her home club, Deming Toastmasters, in 2018. Woohoo! She's the president and VPE of Deming Toastmasters. She is Area 21 Director for 2019 and 2020. And this year, she's the Division South Director. She is a member of the DTM think tank and Majestic. She is also a member of a bilingual club in Washington, District 9, that chartered in 2020. Her goal is to achieve DTM by June of 2021. The hidden gem that she discovered was the Youth Leadership Program. Deming Toastmasters Club partnered with the Luna County Juvenile Justice Continuum of Services, that's a mouthful, to provide a different opportunity to younger generations. My other panel member is Janine Deckard. She joined Toastmasters in 2008. She achieved her DTM through the Legacy Education Program in 2018. She currently works as a lab tech in Texas while caring for her 3 children on a small farm. She is only one high performance leadership project and her second youth leadership program away from her Pathways Distinguished Toastmaster. Give it up for Janine. She serves as the Area 44 Director for District 23 and is the Vice President of Education for Odessa Toastmasters, that is in Texas, a member of Leadership 23, formerly Tumbleweeds, and Champions Forge, and is soon to charter the newest club in Area 44, Midessa Evening Toastmasters, before the end of January 2021. And if you want to throw her some support, do that. Thank you both, Grecia and Janine, for being a great support to me and for being on my panel tonight. We'll start with Grecia. We'll start with Janine. Janine, can you please describe the difference between a youth leadership program and a Gavel Club?
Sure, I'll address the Gavel Club. I helped with creating the out in West Texas, well, not now, out in West Texas, we've changed names. It's Open Skies, formerly known as West Texas Homeschool Co-op Gavel Club. It's a mouthful. And we changed it to Open Skies Gavel Club. So we are a licensed Gavel Club through the Toastmasters Gavel Club program. And we are currently a part of our Open Skies Homeschool Co-op. I had started out with the youth leadership program, and Gavel Club is basically a Toastmasters for anyone under the age of 18. So you're going to have the same setup. You're going to have officers. You're going to have a meeting that lays out exactly pretty much like you have attended any other Toastmasters club. And then I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Grecia to explain what the difference is with a youth leadership program, because that's her expertise.
Thank you very much, Janine. The youth leadership program is the way to allow the younger generation to fall in love with their voices. And it takes 8 weeks, 2 hours per week. You can do it in 2 different days, 1 day. And the structure is not as wide as the Gavel Club. With the youth leadership program, you only have president, secretary, vice president. I think I'm missing one, but 2 or 3 officers just to allow them to understand the voting process. And then you have the speakers, the evaluators. You don't have very much the time or the encounter. So it just to make them, give them a taste, what is this about in just 8 weeks, 2 hours per week. Back to you, Janine.
And Beverly, I think that shows the difference
I'm
between
sorry.
Correct. Thank you so much, Janine and Grecia. Janine, why would a Toastmaster choose to do a youth leadership program over a Speechcraft to get their Distinguished Toastmasters Award?
That's a great question. I was involved with both, so I feel like I can speak on that. I really enjoyed doing Speechcraft, and the district puts a lot of encouragement and emphasis on Speechcraft because it brings in new members to your club. So what I'd like to say is that doing a youth leadership program is more than just an 8-week program for children. What you're doing is you're planting seeds in families, because those children then go home and they talk about Toastmasters and they talk to their mothers and their fathers and their grandparents, and you would be surprised at how many people will find out what Toastmasters is, because children, when they're excited about learning, they tell everyone. And my own personal experience is that one child told their father that they were involved, that they wanted to join the Toastmaster program at their co-op. He had been in Toastmasters 10 years before that, and he had totally forgotten that Toastmasters was a thing. He got so excited that he contacted me and wanted more information about our local club And then he said, you know what? I think the realtors need to start their own club. So because of that, he wanted to charter his own club for realtors. Then COVID happened and that's on pause. But I still think that it would never have happened had it not been for the youth leadership program being a part of Toastmasters. A lot of adults would not want to tell other people that they're practicing their biggest, greatest fear. But a kid, when they're excited about it, you can't get them to shut up. And that, I feel, is the biggest asset for doing a youth leadership program versus a speechcraft.
Thank you so much, Janine. And I have to agree that kids are our best evangelists, for lack of a better word, because they do share so readily their excitement about any subject, but especially about public speaking. Grecia, what does a Toastmaster gain from hosting a youth leadership program?
It is amazing. You think, what am I going to do with these teenagers? I have no kids, guys. No experience raising kids. So the first time I was scared to death of 10 teenagers. I said, I'm going to be killed in action. And the magic happened. What happened is that they also are afraid of speaking. Why? Because their voice, because they are changing, because so many things. And there is where the magic happened. When you see how these guys grow. What happened with you is an entirely different story. The benefit of seeing the next generation being part of the growing, the building of what is going to happen with our next generation, this is priceless. And then you come back to your club. What happened? Then you cannot stop talking about it. Why? Because you should do it. I don't like it, doesn't matter. Just go and do it. Why? Because when you touch the heart of a kid, you're touching your own heart. It's beyond words. I speak Spanish and I don't have words in Spanish to explain the emotion. I cry every single time that I am in front of those guys. And I have seen flourish team members from other clubs. They stand in front and they go through the 8 weeks process. And you know that in a club, there are always things that never happen perfectly. We know that. Imagine with teenagers, with kids. It's, I promise you, it's not going to be 100% as you plan, but it's always better and better. It's a win-win situation. I don't know, I promise at this moment, I don't know who wins more, the kids or us as adults learning from them and from the experience. Back to you, Beverly.
Thank you so much, Grecia, for that impassioned plea to have youth leadership programs. It's so true that the energy of kids inspires us. And when we encourage them, it encourages us. So it's a win-win. Janine, do you have a similar experience when you host your Gavel Club?
Definitely. I feel like in the however many years I've been a Toastmaster, there is a challenge to keep it fun, to keep it fresh, to keep it exciting. I think that adults have a tendency to get a little apathetic, and we kind of just go through the motions and okay, now we're doing table topics and we're just going to read the 365 questions. And it's okay. We like that routine. We get comfortable. The kids don't want that. They want new. They want fun. They're going to challenge you. They're going to push you, and they're going to say, what are you going to do fun this week? And that got me constantly thinking, what can I do this week? And I remember I had this one kid that he was in our Gavel Club for a very long time, but he refused to really get involved other than being timer. He loved being a timer, and I could hear him absorbing everything, but he did not want to perform. And the few times he'd try, he'd get up and just start crying. And he was one of the youngest in our class. But then I had this brilliant idea because I was exhausted. I grabbed Pokemon cards because I saw all the kids had been trading Pokemon cards. And I was like, okay, we're going to do something. And so I had the Pokemon cards, and for table topics, they were to use the card, and they couldn't tell any of the facts on the card, but they had to get the kids to guess who their Pokemon was. And there's like 600, 800, 900, I don't know, even I've lost count of how many Pokemon there are. But that was the most lively group, and they were so passionate, and they were physical gestures and sound effects and dancing and running around, and it was the most chaotic, most fun, and they wanted that for 6 weeks. Literally, we did that for 6 weeks straight because I had found what that common ground, that lowest common denominator, they all loved it. Even kids who'd never actually played Pokemon before and had no idea what they were, they instantly picked up on the game and the colors and the fun, and then they were trading cards, and it just got really crazy. But it made me think it's important that if we're not having fun, they're not learning. And I took that same energy to my club. So then my club, every week I would tell them, because I met on Tuesday with my Gavel Club, and then on Wednesday I would meet with my own club, and they were the sponsors for that club, for the Gavel Club. So they were so excited. They'd spoken to these kids, they'd come and encourage them. And so they had a vested interest in this club being successful. So when I came the next week and I would tell them stories about, I finally reached this one kid, and it clicked, and he was fighting the other kids to get up there in front of everyone to be able to participate. And that made me love being a Toastmaster. How many of us are fighting burnout? How many of us are so tired of the bureaucracy and it's hard to get things done? It's not when you've got kids. They think everything's possible. And so that new life, that new excitement, that new appreciation for Toastmasters is priceless and kept me from quitting many, many times. So if you're feeling burnt out, if you feel like you're ready to quit, you said, I got my DTM, holla, bye, I'm not going to do this no more. No, do Gavel Club, do a youth leadership program. I promise it will be the best 8 weeks, year, however long you dedicate to do it. It will be the rejuvenation and the new energy that you need to keep going on your Toastmaster journey, because it's worth planting these seeds.
Thank you so much, Janine, for another impassioned statement. If you want to re-energize your own Toastmaster journey, then it seems a little counterproductive to do more work. But in fact, teaching the youth gives you energy because they are energized. Grecia, what are the minimum requirements to operate a youth leadership program?
Wow. They are, right now we are in the Zoom arena, in the virtual world. So you need to have your account or borrow from somebody. You have your Zoom. You need to have at least, my recommendation is just to buy one set of the youth leadership program, because then you can copy, make PDFs to give it to the kids instead of wasting money sending it. You have your original one set. You give them their PDF. You have the evaluation, but you need to send them the PDF. Okay, so they can do that. You can send it a PDF every week. So virtual, you need a Zoom. You need at least one set, because there you also have your coordinator diploma. And one of the nice things for them is to have their diploma, their nice diploma that they complete the youth leadership program. And the other thing is, which is the last, but it's not the least, you need to have the time. It's not okay if you make the time to be Tuesday and Wednesday from 4 to 5, to say an example, and do not be there at 4. Why? Because you are teaching them to be consistent as well. You are teaching them how to be on time, to finish on time. So the disposition and the time. 3 things. Zoom, you buy one package, which is not very expensive. It's $17. PDF, you can have the software for PDF, which is right there, everybody wants. But the disposition to be there for that 8 weeks. That's it. Back to you, Beverly.
Janine, how about the requirements to operate a Gavel Club?
It's a little bit more, but you don't have the requirement, because it is chartering a club, but you don't have the minimum amount of participants required. So you don't have to, like, okay, if I have 5 kids, I can't do a Gavel Club. No, you can. It's harder. I personally recommend, if you look at your meeting rules, there can be upwards of 14 to 15 slots. And so you want that many learners involved in your Gavel Club. You can do it with as few as 7. And so, but that's not a requirement for chartering. If you want to just charter a club, say you have a church, or you have a co-op, or you have a school that just says, I want to do this, and we don't really know how many kids are going to be interested in this, you can go ahead and charter. And there is a fee. I believe, I'm sorry that I don't have that in front of me. Do you have the money amount, Beverly, or not? I believe it's 150, but that could be, because I think there was a change, and that's why I'm kind of fuzzy on that. And it says on the thing that you're not allowed to charge children, because there's a lot of problems with that. So it's really important to either have your club sponsor the Gavel Club, or to have the organization do it. And that's what I did. I had our homeschool co-op pay that. And what they did is they asked the parents to pay a nominal fee for the class. So it's totally doable. I mean, if you had like 20 kids and you divided that much by, it's like $7 per kid. And that's really doable if you've got parents who are just as interested in getting that. I mean, how good does it look on a high school transcript that the child attended a Gavel Club and was president of that Gavel Club? I mean, that looks really good. So that there is a cost, and then what you get is a giant, and I mean giant box of CC, Competent Communicator, and CL manuals, and then a whole bunch of evaluation sheets on top of that. So they give you basically all the stuff that they're not needing anymore with legacy, so that they're finding new ways to repurpose that. And it has come in very handy. There's a lot of training information involved in it. I believe there's leadership handbooks too. Like they really treat it like a true club. And there is a whole process of doing it. And if you have questions, there's an amazing email person that you will contact, and they can help you with setting that up. It's a very simple process. And as far as being a Toastmaster, legally, I think that the way I look at it is there should be a Toastmaster involved, at the very least one Toastmaster at all times, but I don't think that that's an actual requirement. So if you get it started, then a teacher or an adult or a parent can deal with that. Is there okay, there's a question, and I feel like it's germane. Is there a follow-up after your Gavel Club's 8 weeks? Now, a Gavel Club, I believe it's for a full year. The 8 weeks that we referred to in the past is for the youth leadership program. So the Gavel Club I have been doing since 2017, I believe. And we've just done it every year. And this last year, during the beginning of COVID, the children actually asked me to do it through the summer, which we have never done, but they were lonely and they missed each other, and it was the best way to connect with their friends. So we did it even through the summer, but normally it would be the fall till the summer, and then that would be considered the year. And it can be, we've done our meetings in 40 minutes, which is very hard. I'm not going to say that it's easy. You can do it in 40 minutes or you can do it in a full hour. So I think that answers that question.
Thank you, Janine. Grecia has something else to add on this topic.
Yes, in regards, thank you, Janine, because you reminded me of that. The youth leadership program indicates that should be 20 to 25 kids. Honestly, it is a lot of kids. In a virtual setting, it gets crazy. 12 to 14 ideal. You can run a youth leadership program with 10 kids. Less than that is what Janine was indicated. It gets a little repetitive with the different aspects of the roles that they need to execute. This is number one. Number two, it has to be led by a Toastmaster. The person who is leading a youth leadership program should belong to a club. That is written right there. That's it. Back to you. Thank you, Beverly. Back to you.
You're welcome. I'm going to hand it back to you to answer the question, Grecia. What is the best time of year to start a youth leadership program, do you think?
Anytime. To be honest, anytime is a good time. Normally, it's better when the kids are on vacation and the parents need extra activities. December, when in this virtual world, it's getting a little tough because the kids have been in front of the computer for their classes. And now you have to go, I say have, you go to a youth leadership program through a virtual setting as well. So the time is anytime, preferred during the vacation, or if you find a niche where church, for example, when they have a special activity, then you can squeeze in. Or there are organizations within the town that they perform or they organize activities for the kids. As a club, you should be in contact with this guy from their town so you can squeeze in 2 hours per week. Guys, it's just 2 hours. It's not going to cost you anything. And they already have the kids there. And normally, they need somebody who gives them an extra couple of hours to entertain the kids. So anytime, Beverly, it's a good time.
Excellent. Anytime. Thank you for that answer, Grecia. Janine, talk to me about platforms and meeting spaces for youth leadership programs and Gavel Clubs.
Well, I will say that that's actually one of the issues for our Gavel Club is that when we were doing it during the summer, the kids were using Zoom because that's what I had. I had permission from the district to use our district site for Gavel Club because no one was using it at the time. And it's really important to get that checked out with the district before you take that time. And so I had that and it was great and the kids were using it and we weren't having any problems. Well, there was a concern with the co-op that perhaps security was an issue. So they said we should use WebEx. And that was the platform because they wanted everyone to do use the same thing for unanimity and, all of that good stuff. But I will say that it was not very user friendly and we had a lot of technical difficulties. And with that, it was very disheartening for the kids and very challenging to have a club. So I would really recommend, I have used Google Hangouts. I've used for many different formats for different meetings, and eventually we all end up with Zoom. So I would really highly recommend to just start with Zoom to save yourself a lot of headache, a lot of trouble. And then when you're meeting in person, which we hope one day soon we'll be able to do that again, I really want to encourage, it is possible as long as the room is quiet and you don't have a lot of, you wouldn't want to do it in like a FERS cafeteria where there's lots of background noise, and that would not be, because they do have meeting rooms at FERS cafeteria. So that's why I'm using that as an example. That would be a great option if you were just desperate and the kids just needed to meet, and that's fine. But I would say that there are libraries that have really wonderful meeting rooms that are quiet and shut off from any other kind of distractions, because kids are already distracted and nervous enough. They don't need any added distractions. So we had a church that we met as a co-op, and we each had our own dedicated classrooms. And really the only thing we needed was a whiteboard, because the kids really liked us writing down the topics that each child spoke on and their names. And then when it came to vote for their favorite, they could use that as a reference. And so that was a perk. It wasn't necessary. I would say if you are using the manuals in a Gavel Club format, then you're going to have a very big challenge getting the kids to remember to bring their manuals. So what I did, and what worked really well for me, learning the hard way, learning on the job, is to keep their manuals for them and schlep it to each meeting. That way, I didn't have to worry about whether or not they brought their manuals, and they would get evaluated and get credit for that. So those are some of the things I learned. I would definitely say that COVID has brought a lot of benefit to Toastmasters as a whole, because we are able to, I can do my Gavel Club from work because my boss is so awesome and he believes in Toastmasters. And so that's a huge, that takes away so many excuses for why a person can't do a Gavel Club. If you have an hour at lunch, you can do a Gavel Club. If you have an hour in the evening, you can do a Gavel Club. If you want to do it on a weekend, you can do a Gavel Club. There are no excuses now with COVID, because we're social distanced, it's healthy, and there are no reasons why you can't. You don't have to pay for meeting space. So it's a great opportunity. I hope that answers the question.
I think it does. Thank you so much, Janine. I am at the end of my questions. I want to give it to Grecia first, if there's anything you'd like to add that we haven't addressed, and then we will go to the questions.
Sure. Yes, I would like to say that I live in Columbus, Deming, okay? This is a place where there are parents that they don't have internet, and the kids connect through the telephone, okay? We still have the experience. There are moments of the back and forth. The technology is limited where I live, and they are participating. And the last thing I want to say is we ask them, we are in generation 2. We started the youth leadership program with the juvenile system of Luna County. Those are kids who are on probation, okay? The first word they are not allowed to use is probation in the meeting. That word, nobody says that word. And there was a question that we asked at the end. We are in the second round of youth leadership program, and the question was, what have you enjoyed the most and the least? And one of them was, I did not want to talk in front of anybody because I always was in trouble. And he had in very bad trouble. Now I am able to talk with confidence. I know I am not a speaker yet, but I feel better. 14-year-old boy already in trouble with changing voice, all the things, and he was able to start releasing that. Guys, this is priceless. I promise you, it's priceless. And you can't find, I promise you that you're different cities as a club. You can be a resource for so many. You can go from nice to kids who are not in trouble, which is easier, or to kids who are in trouble and tell them another story. They can tell their own story. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Beverly, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Grecia. Janine, do you have anything to add?
Just one thing. At the beginning of every Gavel Club, I challenge the kids to prove to me that whatever their chosen dream, goal of career, they would not need to be a public speaker. And I waited and waited for that one kid to stump me, and I am undefeated. I have been able to prove that no matter what you want to be when you grow up, you will need to be a public speaker. So that is one of my favorite games. I think that everyone should play that with any kid they come across, because Toastmasters is necessary for everyone.
Thank you so much, Janine. It's so true that everyone needs to be able to speak well. And studies have shown that the better you speak, the more likely you are to get whatever job it is that you want, and the more likely you are to get promoted. Now we will address some of the questions. A question from Rebecca: how do you start? Do you reach out to school systems, church, etc.? Do either of you want to address that? I was about to answer that and I realized that's not my job. Maybe
Janine, you go first.
Okay. So I think that the best way is to ask the people that you know. And if you are involved in a church, if you are involved in the school system, definitely talk to the people that you know and ask, is this something that you feel you need? I've talked to a lot of people and I've had a lot of people tell me, yeah, but then they don't go any further than that because of many other excuses. So finding kids is really has not been challenging for me at all. It's just a matter of the youth leadership, getting that started. It's just a matter of buying the kit and then finding kids. Like literally, that's as easy as it comes. Gavel Club is a little bit more involved because of the paperwork in the Gavel Club. I will say that I looked it up because I felt really bad. I meant to do that before we got together. There's a $50 certification fee and then a $48 annual club dues. And that is the total amount. You will get a gavel, you'll get Gavel Club cards, you'll get the CC and CL manuals, and you get 20 training aids, and of course the certificate of achievement. So I believe that's what you'll get. And so just that plus kids and you're good to go.
Grecia?
Yes, that is part of the complete process. You also, if we are Toastmasters, we need to be involved in the community. If we are disconnected from the community, then we will not find those kids. I receive a phone call. You know that the people enter into Toastmaster and find the club nearby. I receive an email from Toastmasters International. This lady wants to talk to you. She lives in Las Cruces, which is close by Demi. I have been talking with the director of the high school. I have talking with the top executive who control all the schools in the county. Zero. Yes, Grecia, fantastic. Zero. This woman is the psychology of the kids. And the way she found us of the main school system, she found us because she's taking care of some kids that they have fear of speaking, and they have some situations. One of the girls found out a TED talk, and a woman said that she was exactly like her when she was a kid, and she went to a Gavel Club Toastmaster. Diana, which is the psychologist, called us. She's a member of the club. She's a member of the club, and she is going to help us with the Gavel Club because she already has 10 kids that need from the school system, that needs the support of a club.
That's great, Grecia. And I want
It's
to add
important.
a
Go ahead.
Sorry, are you done?
No, to be connected with the community. You have to be connected with the community. It's the only way, how I see it.
Thank you, Grecia. I want to add, as the youth coordinator for District 23, that I have contacted the Girl Scouts of Albuquerque, and they are putting us, they're going to connect with me in February for the next series of offerings. If somebody wants to do a youth leadership program next fall, you should give me your name, and I could give that name to the Girl Scouts, and they will contact you and give you girls who want to get their communication badges or their public speaking badges. I'm trying to contact the Boy Scouts. We're working with the Rotary Club. You can do this in your towns. And of course, you could do what Grecia is doing in any town and work with the youth at risk. Work with the juveniles who are in trouble, who need to do community service. Wouldn't it be great if you gave them tools? I am going to be calling people down at City Hall to get contacts so that I can know who it is in Albuquerque who takes care of that, and then be able to give you those names. Does that answer your question, Rebecca? Ellen's question, is there a follow-up after your Gavel Club's 8 weeks? It's the youth leadership program is 8 weeks. And Grecia, do you want to answer that question?
Yes. Everyone here is Toastmaster? Yes. Zero. Zero follow-up. Zero follow-up. And and this is something that the more we execute, the more we share, the better tuned up the process will be. There are things that Beverly has discussed with us, and this is the list, Ellen. This is the list, zero follow-up. It has the same level of importance as a sponsor of a club, or it has the same level for your DTM, zero follow-up. I was lost when I was going to say, I finished my leadership program. What is the format that I need to fill out? No, you just put it there in this document. No way! Who is going to say that I did it right? Who is going to... Did I answer you, Ellen? Okay. I'm sorry to be so direct.
So I would have to say that this is absolutely correct. Grecia has shared the truth that right now there is no oversight for holding a youth leadership program except me. I am here to support you. I am here to rubber stamp your ending. If you want me to attend a meeting, I am here to attend a meeting with you, for you, be a fly on the wall, whatever you need. That is my job. I'm trying to see how the most difficult question, how do you keep your participants accountable to meet consistently for 8 weeks? Janine.
Well, the thing that I thought, because Gracia can explain why her participants are held responsible. Mine, the parents paid for their kids to be a part of the co-op, and they paid a lot of money. And so the kids are there because they have all day classes from with different teachers. And so they're gonna be there anyway, but a lot of the kids, especially my older kids, they really didn't have a lot of classes in the morning that they were really involved in. They would just like read or play outside. And they stayed, because their parents had them there, and they were really excited about being there. And if you've got them really engaged, they know that they have speeches they have to give. They know that if they don't give their evaluation, their friends are not going to get credit. And so it's really important, and they understand the value of teamwork by the time the 3rd or 4th week rolls around. They understand how the meetings work. And just like adult Toastmasters, actually, I have to say, I love my adult Toastmasters, but I have to say my kids have better attendance than my adults did. So I think part of it is because the parents make them be there and they want them to get the benefit of it. And so the parents make them be accountable because they're homeschoolers, I guess. But the kids want to be there. And that's the main thing. If you have them engaged and you're doing the best that you possibly can to keep them excited about it, they'll want to be there. And it's not.
Thank you so much for that answer, Janine. And as she mentioned, Grecia, can I just say that yours are required to be there, correct?
Yeah, the answer is yes. And sometimes they don't participate because of technical problems, because all these different, but the answer is yes, they are required to be there. This is 2 hours that they put on their community service.
Thank you. I would like to address this question because, in fact, I have dealt with this as a problem. I started a Gavel Club, actually a youth leadership program in the fall, and I did not have enough kids. I had 4-ish kids, and we just didn't have the energy, and all the kids were introverts. And we ended up folding that youth leadership program because I couldn't get the kids to participate at any level. There just wasn't the energy. As the adult clubs go, when you have those 14 people or those 10 to 14 people in your club, you have that energy and you feed off of each other. But if you only have 4 people, it's hard to get excited to keep it going. And the same thing is true with kids. So it's hard. It was really hard to do it. My Gavel Club that is active, I have 9 kids. They're all committed. They come every week. They have no reason to come. Really, they haven't paid anything. It is free. And they haven't paid anything and they still come. And it is marvelous. It's because they realize, as Janine said, that everybody's depending on everybody else, and it's a great energy together, and they like it. Does that answer your question, that one? And I'm looking for the next question. Have you ever started a youth leadership program with a classroom teacher or a high school teacher? I personally haven't, but I know someone who has. I've talked with many people over the United States who have started them in the high school. Specifically, it was a private school, I believe, and it was very successful. Very successful. The biggest aspect is that your teacher has to be passionate about it. If your teacher's passionate, then it will work. It just will work. If there's no passion, it won't work. Does that answer that question? Ellen, are you on anymore?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been listening. Yeah, I just nod my head. I didn't want
Okay,
to
I
interrupt.
couldn't see you because I didn't have you on the screen. That is all the questions I have on my list. Are there any other questions that have not been addressed that are coming up now?
Yes, I have a question. What do you think, guys? Can we have your inputs back and say, makes sense, doesn't make sense, you guys are crazy?
Rebecca.
I think this is an amazing, amazing opportunity for all of us. I'm excited. I'm just trying to figure out how I can do this with my schedule of 6 clubs and everything else. But it is an amazing opportunity. And I think about my grandchildren. My oldest one's going to be 12. And I know, it's just time. It's time for that. And kind of putting your foot in the door to talk to the grown-ups to figure out where you can start this club or the Gavel Club or the or the youth leadership program. So that's what I have to figure out, but great information and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I started each of mine with a youth leadership program and then asked the participants if they wanted to fold over into a Gavel Club, and that's how it worked. And then you start with set curriculum, and then you move into a little less curriculum. Of course, Janine and I, if you really come down to it, we're the curriculum free people. And Grecia is our manual person. So you need to talk to her about the manuals. Actually, I've never really cracked one of those books yet. Is that embarrassing?
No, it's not. It's sweet. I have another idea to share. What we have done as well is to bring the kids of the members into the club. And you will see wonders. You will see wonders. Invite, let's say, one of the meetings of the month or every 2 months, everyone will bring the kid and give them the same, for example, if the father is the timer, it's not going to be the father, it's going to be the kid. And the father will help the kids to be the timer, a counter, grammarian. And that has worked for us. And though from that mix, we have 2 of the kids, they want to be president of the Gavel Club and vice president of PR already. So they are going in that direction, and they are 14. This is another idea for the club that you don't know where I'm going to have kids. There must be some kids. You come here. The neighbors, somebody come here. This is the night for the kids. Something like that.
Anyone else? Siona? Jen? Or do you feel like a tiny little cup in the face of a fire hydrant?
I would be interested in the Girl Scouts one, but the timing, every time I've tried to do any kind of, there's a lot of, I work in the STEM field, and there's a lot of trying to get women in STEM to talk to young girls about STEM, but it's always during work hours and I can never go. So that's always been the, I don't know, an issue with it. But if there are clubs that meet on the weekends, Girl Scout clubs, I would be happy to do that. It's just
When I was talking to
stuff, it's always at
right
1 o'clock on a Thursday, and you're just like, well, I have a meeting. I'm not a teacher.
Right. When I was talking to the Girl Scouts, they were definitely talking about weekends, and they were talking about doing it in 2-hour increments, which we would, I'll have to talk to them further, but we could get it
to
done.
have all the Girl Scout meeting stuff too, right? Because they have the pledge and everything.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah.
And were you a Girl Scout in your past life? Yeah. Anyone else? Yes, Rebecca.
I'm just saying I would be interested in both Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, because I think they all need it. I would like to see actually both of them together.
Yes, that would be
Yeah.
interesting. And maybe we could do that through the Rotary, which is,
That's true.
I have not made a solid contact with the Rotary. I'm trying to let Michelle do it, but
Okay.
I haven't talked to Michelle lately, and I will talk to her about the Rotary.
All right. Perfect.
Great idea.
Part of the issue with respect to the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts is that they've got these schedules and these kids, they want to accomplish these specific items. And it's a huge extracurricular if you really want to go for the Eagle Scout, let's say, or whatever it is in Girl Scout land to get the top award. Maybe some Girl Scouts are getting Eagle Scout now anyway. But you have to accomplish a lot, and there's only so much time. If you're that driven, you're generally very academically with it, and you're in sports and you're in music, and there's not a lot of extra time, and you have to be careful as a youth leadership program leader to not overwhelm them either. So you have to fold into the reality. It's an interesting, I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but I have connection and they're supposed to get in contact with me.
I was just going to interrupt a little bit. What about juniors? You know, the junior Girl Scouts.
Oh, the junior Girl Scouts?
Yeah, that's a little bit.
Apparently they're not as scheduled, I guess, because I think that how do I say this? If my memory serves me correctly, what I was being offered was middle schoolers.
Okay, a little bit older. Yeah.
Which is not elementary school is what you're thinking. And you could do any age you want. Janine, share your age range.
Well, I opened it to anyone who could read or write because we have manuals. And we are unschooling. It's an unschooling co-op. So these are children who are learner-led, and the children are the facilitators for most of the classes. So I'm there to guide, but they're there to ask questions and basically lead everything. And that has been the case for all of the classes at the co-op. So with that in mind, the kids had kind of I totally lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
Age range.
It's getting late here.
Age range.
Age range, right. So the youngest I had was 5.
Oh.
And he actually entered the table topics contest, and I had trophies, and he won one. So we have, and think about it. That's the one thing I want to say before I end, is that imagine if we could take an entire generation of children and remove that greatest fear of public speaking down to like non-existent, that's just not a fear anymore. And that's my dream. That's my vision. If we could completely remove that as a disconnect with this entire generation, so that the next generation of adults is empowered and excited to say their story and tell people why they are here and what their purpose is. Imagine what our world would be like. And that's what keeps me going. So yes, we had kids that were autistic. We had kids who were had a lot of different issues, but I believe you can do 5-year-olds. I've done it. I've seen it happen. And all the way up into high school, it's totally, there is no limit to Toastmasters. It's just, don't put them in a box. That's all I have to say. Don't put them in.
Awesome.
Thank you, Janine. And my age range for my Gavel Club is 11 to 17. It works fine.
I would love that.
And what about you, Grecia? What is the age range in your youth leadership programs?
Well, what I have seen, they can get in trouble as young as 9 years old. And I have kids in the same meeting, 9 to 17. Some of them 18, just leaving the system, but 17.
It's really possible. And if you have someone who's younger, who is having more problems in certain areas, assigning an older mentor is brilliant.
Yeah.
When they have responsibility, they gain so much from that leadership position. Younger kids love to learn from their elders, even more than us adults. True. Anything else from anyone else? With that, I would like to end our information session on Youth Leadership Program and Gavel Clubs. Thank you so much for your attendance. You have my email, I assume, or I can put it in the chat so that you can communicate with me at any time. I am putting it. Thank you, Janine. Oops, I sent that to a person who isn't here. Yes. All right, there we go. All right, so you have our 3 emails should you have questions. We mentioned briefly that there's a Facebook Gavel Club Youth Leadership Program support group, and you can join that as well if you would wish. And other than that, I would say to you all goodbye and thank you again for attending.
Thank you, everyone.